All right, Q, I'm ready to roll if you are, Matt.
Sir, we can get started with Vic.
Morning, Sean.
Hi, Vic. How are you?
Good. And how are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Doing well.
Great. So, Sean, first part, if you're able to confirm that what has been widely thought to be and what Brandon B mentioned, false positives of those players that were tested, that came back with those positive tests yesterday, are back now, and you'll have them on the field today. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's true. They all tested negative, and they'll be back on the field. They were in this morning already, and we're getting ready to roll here.
Okay. And then second part is how you, as a coach, dealt with what would appear to be a pretty significant disruption in your daily camp routine, what you did to deal with that. And the second part of that is keeping your players sort of confident, I guess, and trusting in how this system is working, that it's the only way that it can really operate, right? Is everybody's got to believe in it. And you have something like that happen, I would think would raise some doubts perhaps. And you as a coach, how do you keep everybody on track?
Yeah, valid question. So, yesterday morning it started early. It really started the night before a little bit, just some of the information we were getting. Sometimes these tests come back at kind of different times. And so I thought Nate and Brandon did a great job, as well as our staff did a great job of communicating. And when the information was flowing in, we had to obviously, make some decisions. And I think, and I'll get into that a little bit more detail for you, Vic. But the biggest thing as we sit here now today is I think I give the players and the staff a lot of credit. They were very positive with their approach, and they went out and were resilient in terms of their mindset yesterday. And so, this what appeared to be a potential very negative situation on the surface, the way we handled it, the way our players handled it in particular, to me was a positive in terms of a growth opportunity for us as a team, and an opportunity for us to move forward as a team, to look at guys that we would have not had the chance to look at in certain other situations, to have the chance to look and have Matt take the reins. This could happen during the season. So to have Matt take the reins on short notice in particular was a great opportunity for our football team. And then in addition to that, as we sit here today, you're able to build trust through these experiences now, these shared experiences where our players, and they were concerned, as was I, as was Brandon and Nate, that once we had the information, we were able to put a plan in place to go out and practice safely. And through that, as we again sit here this morning, you're saying, hey, we've built hopefully some trust through this experience. It wasn't ideal, but the way we came through it together as a team, I think helps us grow stronger as a football team. And I would say that, just overall, the environment we're trying to build is that this is a safe place, not only medically, but also emotionally as well, so that our players can become the best versions of themselves. And so then the detail of it was, just to give you the boulders, Vic, was yesterday morning we got the information. We decided that it would be the responsible decision to push back our start time until we had the information that we needed to have to make a sound decision, whether we were going to have to close or that we could push back and still execute the schedule, albeit an hour later like we did. So as the information came through during those next couple of hours, we were able to go out and practice. And now overnight, we've got the results of the test back from yesterday on those players that were out yesterday, and they were all negative, and here we sit this morning. So in a lot of ways, and not to mix a serious situation with another situation, but when the schools push back their start times when there's snow, because people need more information on how the roads look. That's kind of what we did. We pushed it back to get some critical information in our hands to make a better and more and well-educated decision.
Thank you very much, Sean.
Yeah, sure, Vic.
Hey, Sean, Sal Mayorana, how you doing?
Good, Sal.
Good. Hey, this whole thing that happened yesterday, has this perhaps reopened the conversation about you may have to potentially quarantine certain players, especially the quarterback position? Did any of this scare you into maybe rethinking that?
I don't think the scare necessarily, it's a reminder, though, more than anything. I think just overall to myself, to our football team, this can happen in a hurry, and it can, as we discussed yesterday as a team, it can take a big chunk out of your football team or your staff. And because there were not only players involved, but also staff members involved. So, it's a great reminder and a great lesson for us. And like I said, as you saw yesterday, we were able to, I think, get some things done in a constructive way in terms of seeing what our football team looks like and how we would handle it too, because it could very well happen during the season. We don't want it to happen, but it could happen. That's the reality of our situation.
And if I could have a real quick follow, sorry guys, I just want to get a quick thing about Devin Singletary, if you could. Just, everyone is kind of excited about Zach Moss, and obviously Diggs is the new guy. Singletary remains a pretty important guy. Just give us a quick update on how he's looked and the expectation for him in year two.
Yeah, he's looked good, and he's changed his body composition. Been very impressed with that over the off season here, and he's came back and a year more mature now, and we expect him to continue to raise his game. And I thought he had a good day yesterday protecting the football and getting some yards after contact, and so we'll continue. We expect him to continue in that regard.
Thanks, Sean.
Yep.
Hey, Sean, John Scott. How you doing?
Good, John.
I was curious if the events of the past 24 hours or so have changed your view or opinion on the process of testing and all of that, and if you've got any sense that your players or even staff members have questioned it based upon everything that's transpired.
Not sure where you're going, John, with the process of testing, so I can better answer your question.
Well, there was lab issues, so I didn't know if your confidence in the process of testing and where it's going and all of that has been shaken at all, or your players have lost confidence in it based upon false positives and all of the, people had to sit out and moving forward with all of that.
No, I don't feel at all that our players have lost confidence, nor have I lost confidence in the process that we undertake every day. I mean, we're very fortunate to have that, quite honestly, so that we can come in and do our jobs. Very appreciative of that. And the reality of the situation is yesterday, it wasn't good enough. And I don't think it takes a genius to say that or to know that. I mean, it wasn't good enough. Obviously, we were able to get through it. And I think the NFL is going to learn and the labs are going to learn how to do it better. And I'm confident in that. I'm confident in the leadership at both spots there. And but look, if this is it turned out to be a positive. That's, I think, honestly, how you have to look at it. We found a way to work with it and work through it. And I think for our football team, that's the key. And there'll be more challenges, whether it's related to lab testing or other things that go on. That's how seasons work. That's how the journey is. And the teams that can persevere through those moments and grow closer and stick together are the teams that are going to give themselves the best chance to win.
Thanks.
Yep.
Hey, Sean, Mike Catalana. In the past, in the preseason, I've heard you talk about using those games about communication, about coming out to start the third quarter, all those things. Is there a way to replicate that now as best you can to get ready, especially for the guys who haven't been through an NFL game before?
Yeah, we're going to go over to the stadium on Thursday and do the best we can, trying to replicate that, Mike, with you name it, even the things that you've named. I mean, we're going to do some of that. We're going to replicate as much of a game day schedule as we can. We're going to replicate as much of a game as we can, albeit amongst ourselves. And from what they see to what they hear to halftime, clocking out halftime, clocking out what it would be in pregame warm-up, so that our players know. I mean, you always have to, I think when you teach, you have to start from the highest common denominator all the way to the lowest common denominator. In this case, the guys down here are really guys that haven't been with us through a game yet. And so even you think about Stephon Diggs, well, he has yet to go through a game in our locker room, whether it be dressing in our locker room or how we handle halftime or how we handle our pregame situation. So we need to expose our players to that in a mock run up here so that they're comfortable, or as comfortable as they can be when we turn around for the season here.
Great. Thank you.
Sure.
Hi, Sean. Sal Capaccio. Good morning. Good to see you.
Yeah, good to see you too, Sal.
There was a thought that, the rookies around the league would be a little further behind this year than usual, without rookie minicamp, without OTAs, all that stuff on the field. I know from some of us observing, looks like your group of rookies, a lot of them have fit in pretty well, and they seem to be maybe even ahead of what we expected. But what about from your perspective? Are the rookies even maybe ahead of what you thought, considering what was going on this offseason, or are they about where they thought they would be?
Yeah, the start of that, Sal, is I lost your picture here, but the start of that is really the DNA of the players that Brandon and his staff have targeted to bring in. And that's the foundation. That's really where it all starts from. And then the work that the coaches and the players put in over the offseason in the spring, in particular during the quarantine months there, I think was critical to where they are now. And then the way that our veterans have grabbed a hold of those guys since they've been able to meet and showed the way, leading by example. It's given them, quite an opportunity, and a lot of those guys have taken hold of that opportunity.
Thanks, Sean.
Sure.
Hey, Sean, Matt Perino here. I remember a conversation I had with Julian Stanford in training camp last year, where just watching Tyrell Dobson has kind of, got my memory going. And he just said he was so amazed with how quickly he learned so much in so little time. So I'm wondering, how has that year been? He spent most of it on the practice squad last year, but how has he been able to kind of hit the ground running this year, and what have you seen from him so far in camp?
Well, I think he's off to a good start. Credit to him and the Bob Babich, our linebacker coach. They've worked well together over this last year. Tyrell, to his credit, has developed not only on the field but off the field, and a lot of times that affects what happens on the field. And so with a lot of runway and a lot of work to do yet, he's off to a good start. But we like we do quite a bit with young players, they have to be reminded that they really haven't done anything yet. He's off to a good start in practice. He's off to a good start in training camp with a lot of work to be done yet. But no, we're encouraged by his progress to this point.
Thanks, Sean.
Sure.
Good morning, Sean. Josh Reed here.
Hi, Josh.
Good to see you. Is there any update on the severity of Josh Norman? I know that you were kind of waiting to hear back.
Just that he's out today. We're just taking it one day at a time. It looks like it's going to be some time here, but we're encouraged by his progress to this point. And the important thing is he maximizes those treatment opportunities, and we get him back as quickly as we can here, and that he stays engaged in what we're doing while he is out. And that's the same for every player that's out. But we'll see how he progresses, and I think these next 5 days will be critical for him.
One other question. Along the defensive line, you lose Shaq Lawson, Jordan Phillips, Star opts out. What have you seen so far with the new guys, AJ and all the free agents that you brought in? What have you seen as far as them kind of meshing?
Yeah, I like Quentin Jefferson and his leadership. I think that's been big for us. He continues to work on getting healthy and staying healthy and strengthening his foot, and I think that's big for us. Getting Ed back on the field has been good for us over the last day here now, and so now it's got to all come together. I mean, we're really we're in the home stretch this next week, obviously, with what we've got to do and the steps we have to take as a team to get ourselves ready to go. So as you've heard me say before, and you're only as strong as your lines, and both offense and defensive line in this case. So, we expect a lot from those guys.
Thanks. Have a good day.
You too, Jeff.
Hey, Sean, good morning. You're kind of going off of Josh's question about the defensive line. Harrison Phillips told us something the other day that everybody on this line is a pass rusher, or it might have been Mario Addison that said it. But especially after putting up, I think, middle of the pack sack numbers last year, how important was it to continue to add pass rushers to this unit for you and Brandon this offseason?
Yeah. I think it's a mentality more than anything. And it's you get what you coach, right? You get what you emphasize, as we say as coaches, and so it's a mentality that Coach Washington has put into place here, and a mindset that our guys, we have to stop the run, but also we got to be able to affect the quarterback. And it's not always sacks, but affecting the quarterback. And we had opportunities last year where we were in position, but we didn't finish. And those can be difference-making type plays. So we got to continue to find 6 inches on every play, and that starts up front, and it's the ability to affect that quarterback.
Hey, Sean, Matt Bove here. Hope you're doing well. It looks like you're going to be playing in front of fans at least week 2. The Dolphins just announced that. I guess from a coach's standpoint, obviously you only can control what happens on the field. How do you prepare for games with fans and games without fans, especially if it's going to kind of be a mixed bag?
Yeah, look, it is what it is. We control what we can control. I think it's honestly ridiculous that there will be on the surface what appears to be a playing field that's like that inconsistently across the league, with the different away stadiums. But it is what it is. We control what we can control. That's got to be our mindset, and that's how we attack it.
Thanks, Sean.
All right, thanks.
All right, that's it for today.
All right.